Nice to drop in with you from my balcony in Australia. I wanted to share with you how it's been for me since I was deactivated, deleted, erased from social media. I was working at Sexpo, selling toys for Yoni Pleasure Palace. I noticed that my Instagram was gone and I had messages from people saying, why can't I find you on Messenger? Knowing was possible to happen for a long time had happened. I had been deleted from Instagram and I had just one little message pop up saying, you've violated codes, you have 30 days to appeal this decision and then your account will be deleted forever. And instantly I was like, fuck, because I was at Sexpo and I was thinking about what have I posted, what have I been doing? And I remembered that I had walked into Sexpo and I was taking pictures of all the things that were going on there, and one of the things that I took a photo of was two dolls that were having sex, but they're really human looking. So I was like, okay, I feel like it's that, but obviously I had a lot of strikes against my name. Anyway, I took it pretty well in the first while. I still was selling jade eggs and crystal wands, and when I headed home on the train it all started coming to me and I was like, fuck. The thing was that my personal account was deleted as well as my business platform, so I just couldn't reach out to anyone. I'd lost so many people's numbers and contacts, even people's last names that I don't know, because we rely so heavily on these platforms in order to have the relationships that we have. So yeah, over the next days and weeks I would ask my friends and friends of friends and friends of friends, my community, to support me in appealing the decision of Meta to remove me. But I guess it fell on deaf ears. I have not once heard any word back from them in the last 2 and a bit months. So essentially I had to go into the process of grief, I guess, of my virtual identity who was dead. Chloe Adriana, who had shared many photos, videos, stories, educational content, years and years worth of my personal photos and accumulated friends were just gone, and it actually felt like, in a sense, that I was gone, and I had to go through a process of no, I exist. That identity, that online identity has died. So it was an ego death, essentially. And then there came through a lot of fear around, is my business gonna survive? Is anyone gonna remember who I am? I'd reached 2,000 followers, and for me, having worked and worked to get that, that number really meant a lot. And it was reflected to me by Dave Thomas, a friend and mentor, that I really needed to start thinking about my business not as a representation of numbers of followers, as a representation of how much money I actually make, how much impact I'm actually making, and not followers, which becomes so addictive. I was really shedding all these layers, just looking at myself, what were my values? Was this thing that I was really addicted to, is that one of my highest values, when essentially the kind of content that I want to create in the world is not actually fully welcome on this platform? So yeah, on a parallel level to this, I was also going through a breakup, and then my granny in Ireland had a fall, and I suddenly found myself on a plane with my mom heading back to Ireland. So it's a big fucking mess, but as I believe, and as many people in the spiritual believe, when the house starts falling down around you, it's a real opportunity to be rebirthed. It's the phoenix, the archetype of just burning down. And I really I started to trust. I started to question, what does it mean to trust? To trust my life, to trust the timing of my life, to trust the experiences that are happening, to trust that this is all going to work out exactly as it's meant to. And I started looking into what embodied trust means and what it means to feel and embody trust, and that's why I made the embodied trust meditation, which you can get in the link below. And trust just started becoming a prayer for me. I trust that it's gonna be fine, like that my business is gonna be fine. My business is not businesses can be such a it doesn't have so much soul in it sometimes, that word, and the fact is that my business, it is a soul business. Like I have stepped away from being a teacher into creating my own life, working with something that's technically kind of uncommon. Like I'm a self-love and sexuality coach. I run events based around self-love and sexuality. That's not it's not just going to die and crumble because Instagram has taken me away, because Facebook has taken me away. Like this is soul-led medicinal work that I'm doing, and I had to trust in myself, trust in what I had created, and trust in community. And yeah, that trust started to just like land in my being. And as I took my first ever entire month off work and I came back to Australia and got to go to a beautiful music festival that me and my friends created. Got to just be on this beautiful land that is here in Australia, to put my feet on the earth, to dance, to be silly, to meet up with friends and be totally consumed by summer. Everything started to return to me and to me being Chloe. Like I am Chloe Adriana as a business, but that's not my last name. I am Chloe. I am my own being apart from my business, and it can become like quite enmeshed. And as the summer rolled on, I really was returning to who am I just as an individual, and what do I want. And I found myself out here one morning on my yoga mat, and I just got this big call in my heart, like, you need to go to New South Wales, you need to go to the Sapphire Coast and go do a meditation retreat, which my friends were running. And I hadn't planned to go to that. I just invested a lot of money in a Tao Tantric Arts training that I'm doing, and I hadn't intended to go away at all, but my whole being was like, you need to go. And I just trusted. I said, okay. I took my little Barina, my little car, and I drove myself for the first time by myself in my little car up the coast, 8 hours. Usually long distance driving is harder for me, but I took myself there, and I was cleansed by the ocean. Like I haven't had such a strong relationship with the ocean in a few years. I've been really connected to the river because I live close to the river, but being with the ocean and just feeling the salt on my skin and opening my eyes and feeling the salt in my eyes under the water, I just felt cleansed. I think that different water bodies have different like energetic imprints that they can give us, and the river for me is just so like ancient, and the stories of the Aboriginal stories of like the snake who weaved its way around the land and created the riverbeds. Like there's something so ancient and cooling about the river, but the ocean, like to me, it's like very feminine and very it's very female orientated, but it might not be for everybody. But for me, she's just this vast, like destructive, yet completely alive and obliterating quality that like I don't like to go out too deep. I don't really trust my swimming. I'm a bit like nervous about risks, so I just go in there. I'm just so like reverent and like respectful to the sea, and I just get in and she just smashes me with waves, and I'm like thank you and get out. And I really felt cleansed, and by then it had been like 2 months or so since this deletion took place, where I could just speak for longer. For those of you who are listening all the way, I felt that I've got things to say. I'm just gonna take my time. Like I see how social media just made us want things like now, quick, small, consumptive energy of just like more, take. And I thought, no, I want to have more space to say what I want to see. I mean, even now in this moment, I'm kind of like, what am I talking audience? Is this impactful? But yeah, I trust that I have a lot to say, as does everybody, and yeah, I know that it's easy for me to show up in front of the camera, easy-ish. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to show up on a YouTube channel, and I'm also going to make a Sunroom. The Sunroom is a platform founded by a Melbourne-based team of women and non-binary beings who wanted to create a platform where like everything was allowed, and it wasn't just allowed, but it was sacred. So Sunroom fully allows nudity, sexuality, birthing, everything. So I'm going to be making a Sunroom where I can also just like, yesterday I was laying here on the ground just like rolling around naked, like painting my blood on my face, and I took a video and I'll pop that on Sunroom because obviously YouTube you also can't do that. The link for that is going to be on this video as well. I would say that being deleted from Facebook and Instagram has actually been a great service to me. As weird as that is, I never thought I would say it. It's taught me not to put my life into platforms that aren't mine, not to put my business into platforms that I don't own. So now when friends reach out to me, I say, give me your number, like when I have it privately, and people who like my work, like one of the main things that I say to you is get on my email list. Like the emails is the only audience that a business person owns. Like I don't own you who is watching this YouTube video, and I don't own you if you're on my email list, but like, yeah, it's the place where I get to have your email until you choose to unsubscribe and tell you whatever I want, and yeah, it feels a lot more nurturing to have this little pocket of people who are on the email list who like opening and reading whatever blah blah had happened at probably a great time in my career, because I've only been doing this for the last like 3 years, and yeah, if it had happened in 5 years time, it would have been much more catastrophic. Like I would have had so much more content and audience growth. So I'm happy that it happened when it happened, that I have learned, I've learned that there's no need for me to push and fight and stick my finger up at Instagram when I can just go elsewhere and share my medicine elsewhere. And I will still be on Instagram under Queen Chloe Adriana, just sharing a lot more soft, super soft content. More of the juicier content is via my emails and via Sunroom. So I'm back. I'm softly back into work and into coaching and into creating events and into completely loving myself, healing my heart from the grief of this breakup, which I'll go into another time. It feels a little bit too tender and personal to share just yet, but watch this space. I'm going to have a lot of things to share, and you're always welcome to ask me if there is a particular topic around self-love and sexuality that you want me to speak about, and I will do that best I can. Okay, big love.